If you dreamed last night, you may have solved an important problem in your life or may have made a very significant decision.
My guest today on Shrinkpod is Dr. Myron Glucksman, expert on dreams.
From the campus of New York Medical College and the Behavioral Health Center at Westchester Medical Center in Valhalla, New York, I'm Dr. Michael Blumenfield, professor of psychiatry, and this is Shrinkpod. This podcast will bring to you information, commentary, and interviews with experts on topics in mental health and psychiatry. You can subscribe to receive this podcast on a regular basis, and your comments and suggestions are always welcome. My email address is shrinkpod@aol.com. And now for today's program.
It is a pleasure to introduce my guest for today, psychiatrist and psychoanalyst Dr. Myron Glucksman. He is a training and supervising psychoanalyst at the Psychoanalytic Institute of New York Medical College, where he is also a clinical professor of psychiatry. Dr. Glucksman maintains a private practice in Redding, Connecticut, and New York City. The subject of today's podcast is dreams, and Dr. Glucksman is here because he is the author of a brand new book titled Dreaming, An Opportunity for Change, published by Rowman and Littlefield and available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other booksellers. Welcome to Shrinkpod, Dr. Glucksman.
Thank you, Dr. Blumenfield. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Let's start off with basics. Does everybody dream? And if so, why don't people frequently remember their dreams?
Yes, everybody does dream. We dream every night during sleep. It occurs during a certain portion of sleep that we refer to as REM sleep, REM, which stands for Rapid Eye Movement Sleep. And that's the period during sleep in which we engage in dreaming. The rest of sleep is taken up with what we call non-REM sleep. There are occasional dreams during that time too, but much less frequent than during REM sleep.
How can you be sure that people who think that they don't dream really dream?
Well, we know that people dream because if we bring them into a sleep laboratory and we hook them up to an electroencephalogram and other kinds of monitoring devices, we can tell when they're in REM sleep. And if we wake a person up during REM sleep, inevitably they'll report having had a dream.
Even if they didn't think that they were dreamers?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you find that people in therapy dream more than people who are not in therapy?
Not necessarily, no. But they may be trained to recall their dreams more than people who are not in therapy, particularly if the therapist works with dreams.
So how do you train them to remember their dreams?
The easiest way, I think, is to suggest that the individual keep a notepad on their bedside table, and or a little tape recorder, and if they wake up during the night out of a dream, to record the dream or write it down, or if they wake up in the morning and they recall a dream or even a fragment of a dream, to write it down. Otherwise, inevitably, we forget our dreams during the day.
Do you think the fact that the therapist is interested in the dreams somehow stimulates the person to recall dreams and report them?
Yes. I think that in order to have people report their dreams and work with their dreams, therapists need to remind them or suggest to them that if they have a dream, to bring it in. Of course, people sometimes will report dreams spontaneously, but it always helps to encourage them.
So now that we've established that people do dream, do we know why people dream?
Well, there are several different theories about that. But the prevailing theory now is that we dream every night because there's an area of the brain, it's in the midbrain, called the pons, at certain intervals, certain periodic intervals during sleep, sends out signals that activate the brain, and that causes or results in dreaming. And that's during REM sleep. So dreaming is a biological activity that occurs in all mammals, both in humans and in animals.
Do you buy Freud's theory that dreams are the royal road to the unconscious?
Do I buy it? Well, I subscribe to it, yes, because I think that dreams still provide us with a window into that part of the mind that we're not always conscious of. That is a waking thought that may have certain kinds of activity, feelings, conflicts, and so forth that we're not consciously aware of, and that dreams can portray in their content. So, to answer your question, yes, they still are the royal road to the unconscious.
Well, how about the idea that dreams are expressing our secret wishes?
I don't know that one can say that they express our secret wishes. However, there are many dreams that we call wish fulfillment dreams, and either in a very blatant way or in a disguised form, the dream really is constructed around a desire or a wish. It may be sexual, it may be aggressive, it may be otherwise. And of course, Freud's original theory about dreaming was that all dreams contain a wish, and those wishes are connected to our basic instincts. And of course, he focused a lot on sex and aggression. And he felt the dream was a way of camouflaging that wish. And by camouflaging it, that allowed the dreamer to remain asleep, didn't wake the dreamer up. And that's why he called dreams the guardians of sleep.
So, how often are our dreams really in some way expressing our sexual wishes?
Actually, if you work with dreams, you find that a relatively small percentage are concerned with sex per se. The dreams are concerned with many other issues, conflicts, problems, feelings, and so forth.
Well, just to pursue that for a minute, if a hungry person dreams about food,
Yeah.
does that mean that a person who is wanting sexual gratification would dream about sexual things?
Sometimes, yes, yes. In fact, it's common that we either will be awakened out of a dream because we've had sexual activity, or we've had orgasm, and so forth. But and that often occurs during periods of sexual deprivation. But the other bodily functions can be expressed in dream content too. Pain, for example, is very common in dreams, and we may wake up out of a dream having pain in a certain part of our bodies.
You indicated that what goes on during the day might be important. Are we working out the problems that we have during the day? Are we working those out in our dreams?
Yes, we do. There have been a number of both the clinical and laboratory experiments with humans and animals that show that the problems and issues that we're dealing with the day preceding dreaming will show up in the dreams of that night, and they'll demonstrate that we are grappling with those problems, trying to work them out. And in fact, a lot of very important discoveries, scientific discoveries, for example, have occurred during dreaming. And creative writers and artists and scientists, many of them use their dream content in order to get an insight into what the solutions to the problems they're working on might be.
Well, that's interesting because that brings me to another thing I wanted to ask you. I know in your book you state that dreams are very useful to therapists and people in therapy, and we'll certainly get to that soon. But maybe you can elaborate how dreams might have value or usefulness to people who are not in therapy.
Well, I think that for a person to monitor their dreams and to have some understanding of how to analyze and interpret their dreams, they can be extremely valuable. They can inform a person, even someone who's not in therapy, as to a particular problem that they're dealing with that they may not be consciously aware of, all right, or a particular solution to a problem or a decision they're about to make.